Growing older is not just about the lines on your face or the silver in your hair, it is about the shifts inside you, quiet, powerful, and often overlooked. Too many people believe that aging only takes things away from us. They see it as a slow fading. But what if that is not the whole story? What if aging also gives us something? What if hidden beneath the losses, there are gifts, real, lasting, and deeply human gifts? Today, I want to share with you 12 of those hidden gifts. These are not the things you will see in greeting cards or hear in television ads. These are the hard-earned truths that only reveal themselves when we stop fighting time and start listening to it. And here is the promise: if you stay with me until the end, I will share the most surprising gift of all. It is the one that changed how I look at every single day, and I believe it will touch your heart too. So settle in, take a breath, and let's walk through this together. 12 hidden gifts of aging, and how they might just make this chapter of your life the most meaningful one yet. 1. The gift of saying no without guilt. When you are younger, you say yes to a lot of things, out of obligation, out of fear, or simply because you do not want to let anyone down. You put yourself last, telling yourself there will be time for your needs later. But as the years go by, something shifts. You start to realize that time is not endless, and suddenly, no becomes not just a word, but a powerful form of self-respect. This is one of the hidden gifts of aging, the freedom to say no without guilt, no to gatherings that leave you drained, no to people who take more than they give, no to things that do not bring peace or purpose to your life. And here is the beautiful part: you no longer feel the need to explain yourself. You stop apologizing for setting boundaries. You understand that protecting your time and energy is not selfish. It is wise. You are not running from the world. You are choosing where to place your heart. This kind of clarity does not come quickly, and it does not come easily. But once it arrives, it brings a quiet peace. And that peace is worth more than anyone else's approval. 2. The gift of seeing through people. One of the unexpected blessings of getting older is how clearly you begin to see others, not just who they pretend to be, but who they really are. You no longer get swept away by charm without character or big promises without follow-through. You have been around long enough to recognize the patterns. You can feel the truth in someone's tone, not just their words. When you were younger, maybe you gave too many chances. Maybe you ignored red flags because you wanted to believe the best in everyone. But age has sharpened your instincts. Now, you can spot insincerity a mile away. You can sense when someone is only there for what they can take, not what they can give. This is not about becoming cynical. It is about becoming wise. You still have compassion, maybe even more than before, but it is grounded now. You know your worth. You do not hand your trust out like candy. You protect your peace. And when you find real connection, when someone is honest, kind, and present, you feel it more deeply because you know how rare it is. Seeing through people is not about judgment. It is about discernment. It is a quiet strength, and once you have it, it saves you from 1,000 little heartbreaks. 3. The gift of letting go. As the years pass, something powerful begins to happen. You stop holding on so tightly. The grudges that once burned inside you, the old arguments, the need to prove a point, they start to lose their grip. You realize they are not worth the weight they add to your heart. When you are younger, you might carry resentment like a badge of honor, thinking it protects you. But over time, you see the truth. It only wears you down. Aging brings a kind of clarity. that peace is worth more than being right, and that forgiveness is not about forgetting what happened, but freeing yourself from the hold it had on you. Letting go also means releasing expectations of others, of yourself, of how life was supposed to go. You begin to make peace with the fact that some chapters did not end the way you wanted. And that is okay. You survived them. You are still here. You start focusing on what truly matters, not who hurt you or what you lost, but who you have become because of it. And that shift, that deep breath of release, becomes one of the greatest emotional freedoms you will ever experience. Letting go is not giving up. It is rising above. And that, my dear, is a gift you earned through time and tenderness. 4. The gift of deep appreciation. There is something extraordinary that happens as you age. The little things begin to matter more. A quiet morning with a warm cup of coffee, the sound of birds outside your window, a gentle breeze on your walk, a handwritten note from someone you love. These moments, once overlooked, become treasures. When you are younger, life moves fast. You are always chasing the next goal, the next task, the next stage. But with time, you begin to slow down. Not because you have to, but because you want to. You realize that beauty is not always loud. Often it is quiet and easily missed unless you are paying attention. That shift in awareness is a gift. It brings peace, gratitude, and a kind of richness that cannot be bought. You start to see more, feel more, notice more. And it makes you wonder why you rushed through so much of life before. This appreciation is not forced. It is not something someone teaches you. It grows naturally in the spaces where noise once lived. It fills your days with meaning, even when those days are simple. The world has not changed, but you have. You have become someone who understands that small joys are not small at all. They are everything. 5. The gift of perspective. One of the quiet powers that comes with aging is perspective. You have lived through enough to know that most storms eventually pass. What once felt like the end of the world now feels like a passing season. And that calm you carry, it did not come from ease. It came from experience. You have seen heartbreak, loss, disappointment, and you are still standing. That kind of resilience cannot be taught. It is earned. And with it comes a different way of seeing life. You stop sweating the small stuff. You stop making mountains out of molehills. You know what truly deserves your energy and what does not. When someone cuts you off in traffic, when plans fall through, when someone lets you down, you no longer react the way you once did. You take a breath, you pause, you remember what matters, and that simple shift in reaction is a powerful kind of freedom. Perspective brings balance. It helps you hold both the beauty and the pain without being overwhelmed by either. It allows you to live more peacefully, more fully, more wisely. And that wisdom, the kind that only comes from living, becomes your anchor in uncertain times. You do not get perspective from books. You get it from life. And if you are lucky, from learning the same lesson more than once. 6. The gift of stillness. As life slows down, something unexpected begins to surface. Stillness. Not just quiet in your surroundings, but quiet within. The kind that lets you breathe deeper, think more clearly, and feel more present. When you were younger, stillness might have felt like boredom. You filled every empty space with noise, distraction, or busyness. But now, with age, stillness feels different. It feels sacred. It is no longer something to escape. It is something to welcome. In that stillness, you reconnect with yourself. You remember who you were before the world told you who to be. You begin to notice your thoughts, your memories, your desires, not just as passing feelings, but as parts of your story that deserve attention. Stillness gives you space to reflect, to heal, and to simply be. It is where wisdom settles, where peace grows, and where the soul finds its footing again. This gift is not loud or dramatic. It does not announce itself, but once you embrace it, it changes the way you move through the world. You stop chasing, you start noticing, and that noticing brings clarity, calm, and deep contentment. Stillness is not the absence of life. It is the presence of life, fully felt. 7. The gift of purpose, redefined. One of the most surprising things about growing older is how much your sense of purpose begins to shift. When you're younger, purpose often feels big and loud. It's tied to achievement, to your career, your role as a parent, your responsibilities in the world. You're always doing, always striving, always trying to prove your value through results. But then, one day, the job title is gone, the kids are grown, the calendar is no longer packed, and you're left wondering, now what? This space can feel unsettling at first. You might feel invisible or even irrelevant. You may ask yourself, am I still useful? Do I still matter? And the answer, my dear, is yes, but in a way that looks different now. This is the gift of aging. Your purpose no longer has to be loud or performative. It does not have to be measured in numbers or accomplishments. It becomes more personal, more soulful. It lives in the small moments, the quiet acts of love, the wisdom you pass down without even realizing it. Maybe your purpose now is to share your story, not because you're trying to impress anyone, but because someone younger may need to hear it. Maybe it's to volunteer, to write, to paint, to mentor, to call an old friend who's struggling. Maybe it's to simply be a gentle presence in a world that's too often rushed and reactive. You start to realize that your presence, your attention, your experience, those things are valuable even when no one applauds, especially then. And here's the deeper truth. Your purpose is not behind you. It is still unfolding. It is not about what you produce, but who you are. And that matters more now than ever. So if you've been feeling like your purpose has passed, look again. It may just be changing its shape, and that new shape might fit your heart even better. 8. The gift of real connection. As you grow older, something begins to change in the way you relate to people. You stop needing to be surrounded by crowds or to be constantly liked or to prove yourself in conversations. You no longer crave surface-level connections, the kind that feel full in the moment but leave you empty afterward. Instead, you begin to value depth over quantity. You begin to crave honesty, ease, and presence. This is the quiet gift of aging, the ability to recognize what real connection feels like and to stop settling for anything less. When you're younger, there's often a pressure to be everywhere, to please everyone, to maintain relationships even when they're draining. You go to events you don't enjoy. You keep up friendships out of habit. You smile through interactions that don't feed your soul. But with time, you begin to ask yourself a simple question. Does this relationship bring me peace, or does it pull me away from it? You start letting go of the performative friendships, the ones built on convenience or mutual benefit, and begin investing in the people who see you, truly see you, even in your quietest moments, a friend who listens without rushing you, a sibling who checks in just because, a neighbor who brings you soup when you're sick without expecting anything back. These are not loud gestures, but they are real and they matter. And here's something beautiful. As you release the noise, you create space for new connections to come in. It's never too late to form new bonds. Often, the friendships formed later in life are the most honest, the most comforting, because they're built without ego. You've been through enough to know what matters, and so have they. You realize that love doesn't always show up as grand romance. Sometimes it's companionship, shared laughter, or a quiet understanding over coffee. And that kind of connection, the kind that makes you feel at home in someone else's presence, is one of aging's greatest treasures. In the end, it's not how many people remember your name, it's how many hearts you truly touched. 9. The gift of humor, even in hard times. One of the most unexpected and enduring gifts of growing older is your ability to laugh, not just at jokes, but at life itself. And not the kind of laughter that's forced or polite, but the kind that bubbles up from somewhere deep inside you, often in the middle of life's messiest, most difficult moments. It's not because life has gotten easier, quite the opposite. You've seen more loss, more change, more uncertainty than many people can imagine. But that's exactly why your sense of humor is stronger, because it's not built on ignorance or denial. It's built on resilience. When you were younger, hard times could knock the wind out of you. You might have taken every misstep, every awkward moment, every unexpected turn as something serious, something to fix, or fear, or hide. But with age, you start to see life's imperfections not as failures, but as part of the whole picture. You've learned to laugh when your knees crack like popcorn, or when you spend 10 minutes looking for your glasses only to realize they're on your head. These little moments no longer frustrate you, they amuse you, and that shift is a kind of wisdom. You also begin to see the humor in your own journey. The things you once obsessed over that now feel completely insignificant. You chuckle at your younger self, not with judgment, but with affection. And maybe most beautifully, you find that laughter becomes a bridge between generations, between strangers, between people who have suffered and still choose to smile. This kind of humor doesn't deny pain, it coexists with it. It's the gentle wink to life that says, I see what you're doing, and I'm still here. It's the ability to tell stories that make people laugh and cry, often at the same time. And it's a reminder that even in the hardest seasons, joy still finds a way in, sometimes through a story, sometimes through a memory, and often through the simplest, silliest things. Laughter in old age isn't about being silly, it's about being wise enough to find light in the dark. And that light, that sparkle in your eye when the world expects you to be tired and bitter, that's a gift only time can give. 10. The gift of emotional strength. There is a kind of strength that does not show up in muscles or medals. It does not make headlines. It does not need applause, but it is real. It is steady. And as you grow older, it becomes one of the most precious things you possess, emotional strength. This kind of strength comes quietly over time. You do not earn it through ease, but through endurance, through surviving what once felt impossible, through showing up to life even when it was painful, confusing, or unkind. You have cried, yes, you have fallen, absolutely, but you have also gotten back up again and again, and every time you did, you grew stronger inside. When you were younger, your emotions may have felt overwhelming. One comment could ruin your day. One disappointment could shake your self-worth. But with age, you begin to build an inner steadiness. You no longer give away your peace so easily. You understand that not every feeling needs to be acted on, that not every opinion deserves a response. You've learned how to pause before reacting, how to choose calm over conflict, how to let go of things that once would have consumed you. You know how to be gentle with yourself when you're hurting, and how to hold space for others without losing yourself in their storms. That's not weakness, that's mastery. Emotional strength also means forgiving, not because someone else deserves it, but because you deserve peace. It means setting boundaries, not out of anger, but out of self-respect. It means knowing when to speak and when to stay silent, because your energy is sacred now. You don't give it away cheaply. You are not unshakable because you have never been hurt. You are unshakable because you have been hurt and kept loving anyway. That is the strength the world cannot see, but it is what carries you through the hardest days with grace. And that, my dear, is a strength only time and life can give. 11. The gift of self-acceptance. There is a moment that comes, not suddenly but quietly, when you stop looking in the mirror and criticizing what you see. Instead, you pause and you notice, not just your reflection, but your journey. You no longer focus only on the wrinkles, the graying hair, the softer edges. You begin to see the story behind it all. And you say to yourself, "This is me, and I'm still here." That moment is the beginning of one of aging's most powerful gifts, self-acceptance. In younger years, we are trained, sometimes subtly, sometimes forcefully, to believe we are not enough, not thin enough, not smart enough, not successful enough. We learn to measure our worth by our appearance, our achievements, our productivity. We compare ourselves to others, and we internalize the belief that we must constantly improve, constantly strive, constantly fix ourselves. But aging softens that voice. It doesn't silence it completely, not right away, but it teaches you to question it. It teaches you to see yourself with gentler eyes, because now you understand what really matters. You've lived long enough to know that beauty is not youth, that worth is not a job title, that success is not a number on a scale or a number in a bank account. Self-acceptance is not about giving up. It's about giving yourself permission to be, to stop fighting your body, your past, your personality, to stop apologizing for the space you take up in the world. It's about realizing that you are not broken, you are becoming, always evolving, always unfolding, and every version of you has had value. You begin to thank your body instead of criticize it. You start appreciating your quirks instead of hiding them. You wear your age like a map, one filled with stories, scars, resilience, and grace. And here's the secret. The more you accept yourself, the more peace you find. The less you chase approval, the more you feel free. You no longer need to earn your worth. You simply claim it. Self-acceptance is not an endpoint. It's a homecoming. And the older you get, the closer you come to living fully in that truth. 12. The gift of time awareness. There comes a day when you wake up and realize that time no longer stretches out in front of you like it used to. It is not an endless highway anymore. It is a winding path, and you can feel the narrowing curve ahead. And instead of fear, what you feel is something deeper, awareness. The awareness that your time is limited. And because of that, every moment matters more than ever. This is one of aging's most sacred gifts. You no longer live under the illusion that someday is guaranteed. You begin to see that now is what you truly have. Not yesterday, not tomorrow, just now. And instead of grieving that realization, you begin to honor it. When you were younger, it was easy to waste time, to stay in toxic relationships, to overthink things that didn't matter, to push off dreams for later, thinking there would always be time to come back to them. But aging wakes you up. It whispers, there is no time left for what doesn't serve your soul. And so you begin to let go of grudges, of perfectionism, of fear. You start to say yes more to what feels right. You say no faster to what feels wrong. You stop trying to control every outcome and instead learn to savor the experience, even the difficult ones, because you know that every day, every hour is a gift you won't get back. And in that awareness, something magical happens. Life becomes richer. A walk becomes a meditation. A hug lasts a little longer. A conversation becomes a treasure. You find yourself looking into people's eyes more, listening more closely, loving more intentionally. You stop moving through life and start being in it. Time awareness is not about counting down. It is about showing up fully, presently, gratefully, because you know that your story will one day end, and you want to be the one holding the pen until the very last line. You may not control how much time you have left, but you do get to choose how deeply you live it, and in that choice, you discover the final gift of aging. A life not just lived, but truly felt. Bonus: the gift of letting yourself be loved again. One of the quietest, most healing lessons aging can teach us is this: it is never too late to let love in again. Not just romantic love, though that too is possible, but all kinds of love. The kind that sees you, accepts you, and holds space for who you are now, not just who you were. As we grow older, we collect emotional scars. We've loved and lost. We've been disappointed, misunderstood, taken for granted, and over time, it becomes easier to close off, to protect ourselves by keeping a safe emotional distance. We say, "I'm fine on my own," and sometimes that's true. But sometimes it's fear speaking. The truth is, many older adults still long to feel close, to be seen, to be touched, to be needed. And yet, the hardest part is not finding someone to love. It's allowing ourselves to be loved, to believe we are still worthy of affection, of attention, of deep, meaningful connection. Letting yourself be loved again means taking small emotional risks. It means picking up the phone when someone calls. It means saying yes to an invitation. It means accepting help without feeling ashamed. It means realizing that you don't have to go through this chapter alone. And it means loving yourself enough to open the door again, even just a little. This is not about dependency. It is about reciprocity, about giving and receiving love in whatever form it arrives. A kind word from a neighbor, a warm hug from a grandchild, a heartfelt conversation with a new friend. You are not too old for new beginnings. You are not too late for connection. You are not too far gone to be cherished. Letting love in again is not weakness. It is one of the bravest things a heart can do after being hurt, because love, real love, does not have an expiration date, and neither does your worthiness to receive it. So now, my dear, you've heard the 12 gifts, and maybe even discovered a few of your own along the way. Aging is not the end of meaning, but the beginning of a deeper kind of wisdom, a slower, softer, more intentional life. My hope is that you walk away from this video feeling a little more seen, a little more grounded, and a lot more open to the beauty that still surrounds you. If something here spoke to your heart, I'd love to hear which part stayed with you. Leave me a comment. I read every one. And if this message felt like a warm cup of tea for your soul, go ahead and subscribe. We've got more to talk about, just you and me. Until next time, stay wise, stay kind, and stay open. Your best days might still be ahead.